A very good evening, friends. I welcome you all to the daily newspaper analysis brought to you by the Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is May 22, 2024. Here are the list of articles which we are going to discuss today. Before entering our discussion, I have two important announcements. Let's see them one by one. The most awaited All India mock test for the UPSC Preliminary 2024 is back. The registration link for applying is open to all. You can write it in online or offline format. The first test is scheduled on 26th May 2024. Register for this and rock the prelims. The second announcement is regarding TNPSC Group 4. Attention Group 4 aspirants, Shankar IAS Academy's state level mock test for the Group 4 is back. First test is on 1st June 2024. See, it will be conducted across the 16 centers in Tamil Nadu. I am sharing this post. Scan the QR for registration. With this, let us proceed to our daily news analysis. Before entering our discussion, in this session, we are going to solve two previous year MCQ which had appeared in the UPSC preliminary examination. Let us start discussion. Look at this question. Consider the following statements in respect to traffic. It's an important environmental body which is very important for our examination perspective. Before solving, let us discuss about traffic from preliminary perspective. See the first one. Traffic is a bureau under United Nations Environmental Programming. See, this statement is incorrect because traffic is not any board under UNEP. Instead, it's a NGO jointly developed by Worldwide Fund for Nature and the International Union for the Conservation of Nature or IUCN. See, this traffic body is established in 1976 to monitor the wildlife trade and combating illegal trade in the wildlife. So, statement 1 is incorrect. Let us see the second statement. The mission of the traffic is to ensure that trade in the wild plants and animals is not a threat to the conservation of the nature. See, the statement is correct. Note that traffic works to ensure that the trade in the animals and plants does not pose a threat to the conservation of nature. It does this by promoting sustainable and legal wildlife trade and combat illegal and unsustainable trade practices. So, given the analysis, the correct answer should be option B. Here note that there are some other organizations which are non-governmental and focusing on the conservation of environment. Let us see the list of them. Firstly, Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF. See, it focuses on the wildlife conservation, endangered species and sustainable development. Its headquarters is located in Clan, Switzerland. See the second organization, Conservation International. See, it focuses on the conservation of biodiversity and sustainable environment. It's headquartered in Virginia, USA. Third organization is IUCN. See, it was founded in 1948 and has become the global authority on the status of natural world and the measures needed to safeguard it. So with this basics, now let us see the second MCQ of the day. See, this is the history MCQ which asks the difference between the culture of Rigvedic Aryans and Indus Valley people. Before answering, let's see the first statement. Rigvedic Aryans used the coat of mail and helmet in warfare, whereas the people of IVC did not leave any evidence of using them. See, this statement is correct because Rigvedic Aryans were a nomadic people who were primarily engaged in cattle rearing and warfare. See, they were very skilled in using the weapons like bows, arrows, spears and sword. Moreover, the Rig Veda mentions the use of coat of mail and helmets in the battle, whereas the people of IVC were primarily engaged in trade and agriculture. Here, there is no evidence of using armor or helmets in the warfare. So, the statement is correct. Look at the second statement. Rigvedic Aryans knew gold, silver and copper, whereas IVC knew only copper and iron. See, the statement is incorrect because the people of IVC were skilled in metallurgy and used a wide variety of metals like copper, bronze, lead and tin. They also used silver for the ornaments and decorations. But note that gold was also known to them, but it was not as commonly used as in the later periods. Moreover, the Rigvedic Aryans were also familiar with a range of metals including gold, silver and copper. So the statement is incorrect. Now the third statement. See, Rigvedic Aryans had domesticated the horse, whereas there is no evidence of IVC being aware of this animal. See, this statement is somewhat correct because Rigvedic Aryans were known for their domesticated of horses, which gave them significant advantages in warfare and helped them to expand their territories. See, the horse is frequently mentioned in the Rigveda and chariot warfare was an essential aspect of the military strategy. In contrast, there is no evidence of people of IVC being aware of the horse or used it for any purpose. So, the third statement is correct. Here you can see that statement 2 alone is incorrect. So, the correct option is option 3. With this, now let us move on to see the daily news analysis of the day. Look at this Indian Express article. ICRA, a rating agency predicts that India's GDP growth will slow down to 6.7% in the last quarter of 2023-24 fiscal year. However, for the entire fiscal year, it expects the GDP growth of India to be 7.8%. See, with this backdrop, let us revise about credit rating agencies for the upcoming preliminary examination. Firstly, what is credit rating? See, a credit rating is an evaluation of a borrower's ability to repay the debt which he or she had incurred. See, this can be applied to individuals, corporations, states, or governments. So, we can say that CRAs or credit rating agencies are companies that assess the creditworthiness of borrowers, helping to determine their ability to repay the debt on time, and they can also evaluate the risk of default. See, in India, CRAs are regulated by Securities and Exchange Board of India or SEBI. There are 7 registered agencies in India. They are CRISIL, CARE, ICRA, SMREA, Brickwork Rating, India Rating and Research Private Limited. Similarly, at the global level, 3 major agencies are dominating. They are Moody's, Standard & Poor's, Fitch. Okay, with this basics, now let us see the functions of CRA. Firstly, with respect to credit worthiness. See, CRAs evaluate the ability of the borrowers to repay their debt. This involves analyzing both qualitative and quantitative factors. See, they use alphabetic symbols AAA, AA, A, B to rate the creditworthiness of the corporate financial instruments. See, AAA denotes higher creditworthiness, whereas the rating BB suggests poor credit quality. Secondly, assigning the credit ratings. See, based on their assessments, CRA assigns the credit ratings that indicate the risk level associated with the lending to a particular borrower. See, these ratings range from high to low. Third function is providing independent opinions. See, CRA offers unbiased research-based opinions on the likelihood that borrowers will meet their debt obligations. Fourthly, evaluating the debt instruments. See, CRAs assess the specific debt instruments like bonds to determine the probability of the default and the reliability of the issuer. Fifthly, supporting investment decisions. See, we know that by providing the clear ratings, CRAs help the investors to make better informed decisions about where to invest the money. Sixthly, enhancing the market efficiency. See, credit rating agencies create benchmarks for the pricing debt and help the efficient allocation of the capital by appropriately pricing the risk. See, they also foster financial discipline among the borrowers. And finally, they promote financial innovation. See, by accurately assessing and pricing the risk, CRA support new financial product and services. Note that under the SEBI Credit Rating Agencies Regulation 1999, agencies must disclose their rating criteria, methodologies, default recognition policies, and conflict of interest management in a public manner. So, in a summary, we can conclude that CRAs plays a vital role in the financial ecosystem by evaluating and rating the creditworthiness of the borrowers. This is all regarding the discussion. In the discussion, we saw about the basics of CRA in a brief. With this understanding, let us move on to the next news article of the day. Look at this article. The International Criminal Court ICC prosecutor has requested the arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's Defense Minister Gallant, and 3 senior Hamas leaders for alleged war crimes and crime against humanity related to October 7, 2023 attacks and leading to subsequent wars in Palestine. See, Netanyahu called the request absurd while Hamas also rejected it. Know that the ICC investigates the severe international crimes, and even though Israel is not a member, the court can still prosecute the crimes committed in Palestine, which is a member. See, the court's decision depends on the cooperation of the states for the enforcement. See, this is the crux of the article. With this backdrop, let us learn about International Criminal Court and International Court of Justice from the preliminary perspective. Firstly, International Criminal Court. See, the ICC prosecutes the individuals for the most serious international crimes like genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, crimes of aggression. See, it was established by Roman Statute, which came to force on July 1, 2002. Currently, 124 countries are parties to Rome Statute. See, it is located in the Hague of Netherlands. And continuing our discussion, the ICC can prosecute the crimes committed by the nationals of the member states or on the territory of the member states. See, it can only intervene when the national courts are unwilling or unable to prosecute these crimes. So we can say that ICC operates as a court of last resort, complementing the national judicial systems. C. It relies on the member states to arrest and transfer the suspect, freeze the accounts and enforce the sentences. Also note that the ICC handles the cases involving severe violation of the international law, like large-scale atrocities committed by prominent political leaders or military officials of a country. Let us see the jurisdiction of the ICC. See, ICC has jurisdiction over the individuals for the following crimes. They are crime of genocide, crime against humanity, war crime, and crime of aggression. So with this basics, now let us move on to see the next organization, International Court of Justice. See, ICJ settles the legal disputes between the states and gives advisory opinions on the international legal issues which are being referred to it by UN. See, it's also located in The Hague of Netherlands. See, it was established in 1945 by the Charter of UN and began work in 1946. Note that the jurisdiction of the ICJ is over the states and not over the individuals. Countries must give a consent to the jurisdiction of the ICJ before it can hear a case. Regarding membership, all the UN members are automatically becoming the parties to ICJ. Now talking about the functions. See, the International Court of Justice resolves the disputes related to international law like border conflicts, maritime boundaries and diplomatic relations. It provides legal interpretations and helps develop the international laws through its rulings. See, typical cases involves state sovereignty, treaty violations and international boundary disputes. So, in a nutshell, we can say that ICC and ICJ both play crucial roles in maintaining the international justice and legal order. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about the basics about ICC and ICJ from prelims perspective. Okay, now let us move on to next news article of the day. This article highlights the critical importance of perinatal care for both mother and newborn. See, safe motherhood and safe birth must address the reality that congenital anomalies and neurological issues in newborns are very common these days. While congenital anomalies are often unavoidable, neurological problems can result from the inadequate antenatal and perinatal care. This emphasizes the need for better care during the pregnancy and birth to prevent such neurological deficits. See, this is the crux of the article. In this discussion, we shall answer a main practice question. See, this is the practice question. What do you understand by patriarchy? Analyze how patriarchy has shaped the position of women in the Indian society. See, under the syllabus, it comes under GS paper 1. Let's start answering. Let's start with the intro. Patriarchy is a social system in which men hold primary power, moral authority, special privilege and control over the property. Despite this prevalence of patriarchy in India, the status of women in the post-independent India has continuously changed with the changing socio-economic and political realities. See, this can be the apt introduction. Now let us see the body of the answer. Here we are gonna analyze how patriarchy has shaped the position of women in the Indian society. This analysis we are going to do by taking some common parameters and we are going to analyze how patriarchy has shaped the position of women in that respective field. Firstly, with respect to historical context. See, patriarchy in India has deep historical roots intertwined with religious, social and cultural practices. Ancient texts like Manusmriti and Dharmasastras codified the gender rules, prescribing duties and restrictions for women that reinforced the authority of male. While women were often viewed primarily as daughters, wives and mothers, with their identities and roles often defined by the relationship with men. Secondly, social structure. See, caste system further entrenched the patriarchal norms, with the upper caste woman experiencing strictures around purity and modesty, while women from the lower caste faced exploitation and discrimination. See, the practices like child marriage, dowry and sati are the historical examples of patriarchal control over the lives of women. Thirdly, with respect to legal framework. Colonial and post-colonial legal systems in India have both challenged and perpetuated patriarchy. See, the British colonial laws codified some gender inequalities but also laid down the groundwork for reforms. Post-independence, the Indian constitution guarantees equality before law and prohibits the discrimination. Yet, implementation and societal attitudes lag behind. Then comes the economic impact. See, patriarchy restricts the women economic participation and access to resources. Despite legal rights to inheritance and properties, societal norms often deprive women of their rightful share. Labor force participation rates for women vis-a-vis men, and women predominantly occupy the low-paid and informal sectors. Then come the political representation. See, women's representation in politics remains very low. While constitutional amendments have introduced reservations for women in local governance, their presence in the higher legislative body is limited. Patriarchal attitudes often discourage women from entering politics and take up the leadership roles. Then, education and health. See, patriarchal values influence the access to education and health care. Female literacy rates are lower compared to male, and dropout rates for girls are much higher due to early marriage and household responsibilities. See, the health indicators show gender disparities, with women facing malnutrition, lack of reproductive health services, and higher mortality rates due to neglect and inadequate care. Then comes the cultural representation. See, media and popular culture in India often reinforce gender stereotypes, portraying women in traditional roles and objectifying them. While there are increased portrayals of empowered women, patriarchal narratives still persist, shaping the societal attitudes towards gender roles. Moreover, the recent trends and movements, like despite the pervasive influence of patriarchy, there has been a significant progress driven by social movement, legal reform, and increasing awarenesses. See, the movements like Women Reservation Bill, campaign against gender-based violence like Nirbhaya case protests, and initiatives promoting the education and empowerment of women are increasingly challenging the patriarchal structures. See, this can be your main body of the answer. In the conclusion part, patriarchy in Indian society has deeply influenced the position of women, manifesting in the various spheres of life. While legal and policy measures have been instituted to combat the gender inequality, societal attitudes rooted in patriarchy continue to pose significant challenges. See, the continued efforts towards education, economic empowerment, and changing social norms are crucial for achieving gender equality and improving the status of women in India. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about patriarchy and the influence of patriarchy in the Indian society. With these basics, now let us move on to discuss the next news article of the day. This science page article talks about X chromosome. Traditionally, it is recognized for its role in determining the sex. But recent genomic studies have identified its significance beyond the determination of sex, influencing a range of genetic diseases, immune responses, and even conditions like Alzheimer's diseases. See, this is the crux of the news article which is being given here. In this context, let us learn some facts which are very relevant to our examination. As you all know, X and Y chromosomes are the sex chromosomes that determine the biological sex of an individual. In humans, females typically have 2 X chromosomes, while males typically have 1 X and 1 Y chromosome. The Y chromosome is passed only from male parents to male offspring. Or in simple words, if an X sperm fertilizes the eggs first, you will have a girl child. And if the Y sperm fertilizes the eggs, then you get a boy. Know that human X chromosome encodes around 800 genes, which in turn code for proteins. A loss of function for this gene could lead to variety of genetic diseases. Broadly, the diseases whose onset or progression the X chromosome influences can be grouped into 3 types. They are X-linked genetic diseases, diseases influenced by XCI escape. Thirdly, those linked to X chromosome aneuploidy. Let us see them one by one. See, X-linked genetic diseases, also known as sex-linked diseases, are caused by genetic defect on the X chromosome. Because males only have 1 X chromosome, they are usually affected by X-linked diseases, whereas females have 2 X chromosomes, so they may have mild symptoms or no symptoms at all. For example, red-green color blindness is X-linked and it affects around 8% of the male. Whereas Duchenne muscular dystrophy caused by the mutations in the dystrophin gene and affecting 1 in every 3,000 to 5,000 boys in India, and various other diseases like immunodeficiency disorders that can affect around 1 in 2 lakh live birth are also X-linked diseases. Secondly, diseases influenced by XCI escape. Here, X chromosome inactivation is a vital process in female where one of the 2 X chromosome is randomly silenced to ensure that female, like males, have only 1 functional copy of the X chromosome gene. This mechanism prevents the potential overexpression of the X-linked gene, which could be very harmful. Many autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus erythematosus are more prevalent in female than male due to this XCI escape. Apart from this, women are almost twice as likely as men to develop Alzheimer's diseases. Research has identified this ubiquitin specific peptidase 11 gene which escapes this XCI and may contribute to the accumulation of protein in brain, a hallmark of Alzheimer's. See, this discovery suggests that X chromosome plays a major role in the higher susceptibility of the women to Alzheimer's. Thirdly, those linked to X chromosome aneuploidy. Here, aneuploidy means an abnormality in the number of chromosomes in a cell due to loss or duplication. As you know that in humans, normal cells have 43 chromosomes or 23 pair, except for egg and sperm cell which have 23 unpaired chromosomes each. So, the aneuploidy occurs when the number of chromosomes in a cell is not 46. Either there will be more than 46 or there will be less than 46. Numerical abnormalities or aneuploidies of the X chromosome can cause various diseases. For example, Klinefelter syndrome is characterized by extra X chromosome and Turner syndrome by a loss of one X chromosome in female. See, these are the diseases due to X chromosome. So to sum it up, we can say that X chromosome is a cornerstone of human health and diseases, influencing a myriad of conditions through its genetic and epigenetic mechanism. Understanding its functions and implications opens up new avenues, therapeutic interventions. As research progresses, the insight into X chromosome's role will enhance our grasp of genetic diseases, autoimmune conditions, and neurological disorders, paving the way for innovative treatments and improved health outcomes. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about the X chromosome and its associated diseases. This is all regarding the discussion. With this, now let us move on to the next part of the news analysis, that is to discuss the preliminary practice questions. Today, we are having two MCQs. Let us solve one by one. First MCQ, consider the following statements regarding the International Court of Justice and International Criminal Court. See the first statement, the ICJ settles a legal dispute between the states, whereas ICC prosecute the individual for serious international crimes. See, this is very much correct because as we have seen in our discussion. See the second one, both ICJ and ICC are the principal judicial organs of the UN. See, this statement is incorrect because ICJ is a principal judicial organ of the UN, whereas ICC is an independent institution, not a part of UN. Let us see the third statement. ICJ requires the consent of the state to exercise the jurisdiction, whereas ICC can prosecute the individual without the state consent if the crime is committed in a state which is party to Roman Statute. See, this statement is also correct as we have seen in our discussion. So, second statement alone is incorrect. So, the correct option is option B. Let us see the second question of the day. Institutions like CARE, ICRA and SMREA, which were recently seen in the news, are related to which of the following field? See, as we have discussed earlier, the correct option for the question is credit rating, that is option C. If you like today's video, like, comment and share it with your friends. For more updates regarding UPSC preparation, subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you very much.